Hi everyone, it's Maria Ross here again, brand strategist and author of The Empathy Edge, with our final 7th day of practices and habits you can develop to strengthen your own empathy muscle. I did 3 years of research on this book, and it's a playbook for leaders, brands, and teams to help operate with more empathy and achieve all the benefits that empathy brings to your bottom line. More innovation, more creativity, better talent retention, better talent attraction, more customer loyalty, more word of mouth. I could go on. And we've seen examples during this crisis of companies, brands, and leaders that have stepped up with empathy, and they are winning. They are winning the day right now. And long after this crisis is over, those will be the people and the brands that we remember. So if you're not showing up with empathy for your team, for your colleagues, for your coworkers, for your family, for your customers and clients, take a step back, go through the rest of these videos, and learn how to strengthen that empathy muscle so that you can get more success and deliver a more positive experience. And not only that, make the world a better place, right? We could all stand to strengthen our empathy. People joke that, oh, you wrote a book because you're really empathetic. Empathy is one of my strengths, but I would never say that I'm really empathetic. It's something I have to work on all the time. And often, you can ask any author, we often write books about things we need. So that's kind of what I did. But I want to talk right now about the 7th and final habit for strengthening your own empathy muscle. And that is to find common ground. This is especially important right now. Everyone's got their own agendas. Everyone's got their own viewpoints. And in the work context, man, it's just crazy, right? We are getting a peek into people's personal lives because of home working and remote working and having to conference call when someone's like working out of their bedroom or their 6-year-old is jumping into their conference call. We are really blurring the lines between personal and professional right now. I personally think that's a good thing because we really need to humanize the workplace. We spend the bulk of our time there, and we shouldn't have to be a separate person at work than we are in the office. Within reason. I mean, we have to act appropriately at the office, right? Like we can't come in wearing our underwear. But this tip today, the number 7 tip of finding common ground, is so important because there's a lot of tough discussions happening right now. There's tough discussions with our vendors on whether they can pay us on time. There's tough discussions with who we owe money to on if we can pay them on time. There's tough discussions with our customers and clients about how well we're able to deliver with this crisis. A lot of businesses can be stymied because of supply chain issues or because of not being able to be on site, right? And most of all, in the workplace, we're having a lot of contentious discussions with our coworkers, with our teams, with our executives, with our boards, because a lot of tough decisions need to be made. And so there's a lot of arguments. There's a lot of yelling. There's a lot of cursing going on right now. And we need to remember when we're in these contentious situations, that's when we have to dig deep and tap into empathy. It's really easy to be empathetic when everyone's getting along, right? Empathy is tested when people are not getting along, when times are tough. So now is the time to dig deep and really practice strengthening that empathy muscle. So finding common ground is so important. It's the difference between going into a discussion or a meeting or any situation where decisions need to be made and people are coming in from different points of view. It's really important that we go in and we remember what our common goals are. So when the discussion gets out of control, where's the least common denominator of what you can agree on, right? So if you're going into a conversation with your executive team about the way forward for the company during this crisis, the common ground is you all want the company to succeed, right? You all want to increase revenue. You all want to stay viable and healthy and survive. Like, start from there. It sounds very trite, but no matter what you're discussing, you can all come to agreement that, like, look, let's make sure we're all heading in the same direction. We're all after the same goal. We can all agree on that. From there, we can now have a constructive conversation about the way to get there. But reminding each other always, like, hey, we're on the same team. We want the same things. We're just right now differing about the way to get there. And if you can have that conversation and have that grounding, that touch point, it eases the tension. It lowers the anxiety level. It lowers the defenses, right? And so maybe I don't have the right solution for how to get through this. Go back to the other tips, right? About staying curious and being humble. But being able to agree on the fact that we're both heading towards the same goal puts us from this to now we're going in the same direction. We're just slightly in disagreement about how to get there. And it changes the tenor of the conversation. It also changes the way you're viewing the other people or the other person. You're no longer seeing them as adversaries. You're seeing them as people who want the same thing, but they're just offering a different perspective on how to get there. And that's really being able to practice empathy, because now you know you're seeing things from their point of view, and you know you both agree on what success looks like and where you're trying to go and what you're trying to achieve. I was delighted a few months ago to hear an interview on NPR from a former undercover CIA agent. And she was saying how one of the tactics they learn at the academy is about how to find common ground and get to whatever lowest level of agreement you can, whether it's with a target or whatever. And that is a springboard for negotiation and trust and conversation. So you can think of it as a CIA tactic and bring that to your workplace of try to find a way to find common ground so that then you can have better negotiations, more constructive conversations, and get to a solution faster. It's one of the 7 tips on practicing and strengthening your empathy muscle. So I want to quickly talk about the fact that I've been talking about practice, right? This is really important, and I hope you are paying attention still. The reason this is called a practice is because you're not going to go overnight from a really weak empathy muscle to a really strong one. That's like expecting yourself to go to the gym once and have 6-pack abs. It won't happen. You need to practice it, and it will feel forced at first. All of these habits that we've talked about are going to feel uncomfortable and unnatural at first, and they're supposed to, because they're not second nature yet. So just because it doesn't feel natural to you doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, right? It doesn't feel natural to do 50 crunches the first day that you try to do that. But you keep doing it, and eventually what happens is that your brain responds, and it moves out of the prefrontal cortex of you being aware of it to a part of your brain where it's actually part of your standard operating procedure. That's what our goal is here. We want empathy to be part of our identities and a part of who we are and how we operate. So practice these habits. Practice 1 or 2 at a time and try to master them. And make sure that you are always looking at things from another person's point of view, not necessarily giving them what they want, but at least seeing the situation from their point of view and adapting accordingly and being able to respond and act with compassion. This is the last of our series. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've got any questions about empathy, if you want to bring me into your team or your company to talk, I've been doing virtual talks for companies around how to build an empathetic brand, how to build an empathetic culture, and how individually they can become more empathetic leaders. Please send me a DM or personal message, and I would be happy to connect with you. In the meantime, I hope this has been helpful. I hope it's been useful. Share it, like it, comment if it has. And as always, please stay safe, stay healthy, and stay sane. Take care.